So you stumbled upon our podcast.
Hope you got a lighter.
What's up? I'm Lotta Locks.
It's your boy Quise. Welcome to Functional Podcast.
We eat here. So what you smoking on?
Today, just a little bit of Loud. Mac from Loud. Good strand. Creamy and, spicy.
No additives? Normally you'd be putting fancy stuff in it.
I couldn't find, I don't know where I put my rosin. I was going to dump some rosin in there.
Myself, I was just smoking a Constellation pre-roll, the Jungle Punch. It's hash infused and not bad. I'm feeling the effects real quickly.
Is it rosin or?
It says hash oil infused, so
Yeah, rosin.
Yeah, exactly. There are 2 half-gram pre-rolls in there, so
Nice.
yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know they did hash infused pre-rolls. It's pretty tight.
Yeah. And next, I'm gonna puff on this Noble Farms pre-roll, which is platinum cookies. So
whoa.
Yeah.
Gotta get some of that shit, man. I haven't smoked any Noble in a while.
Is it just because of your local pot shops, like what supply you have there?
Yeah, I haven't really seen. I want like a newer batch of something if I'm gonna grab it. Yeah, especially if it's gonna be from somebody I haven't smoked in a while.
Okay, that's reasonable. Well, how has weed helped you recently?
Still employed in the I-502, so it's still helping me financially on the day-to-day. Still helped me mentally, spiritually on the day-to-day. Just keeping me in good spirits.
Tell them about it. Today, it made my car ride so amazing. Like, it's been really pretty out these last couple of weeks here in Washington, but today I went on a little bit of a drive. Just the scenery. Whew. Man.
Yo, blunt rides are underrated out here, yo.
We say it almost every episode, but
I'm gonna say it until people start getting out and smoking their weed and enjoying outside without getting arrested. Trying my best not to get arrested.
Very, very important. Drive safely. If you are so concerned about your driving skills under the influence, maybe go with a friend who can drive, and then you could just be a passenger. Because being a high passenger is it. It's it. You winning, okay?
Is there any other type of passenger, honestly?
Not in my experience, but who knows? Well, I think we're going to take a quick ad break before jumping into the heavy stuff. So cannabis news is up next.
Ads.
The Bakersman Collective presents
Well, in recent cannabis news, the Virginia Senate says no more smell testing. So you can't, and that sounds weird now that I play it back.
Yeah.
But
it's called that? It's wild that it's even called that. So I thought it was probable cause.
Yeah, but a smell test?
If they smelled weed, but it's a smell test. I can smell weed on you.
Yeah,
I'm going to smell you for weed.
That's not a test. That's not
wild.
I smelled weed. So, but thankfully they said, at least the Senate itself, they passed a measure and now it has to go to the House, I believe, and then the governor has to approve it. So the House of Delegates, then the governor. So they kind of have a little bit before a law, but they're not the first state to do this per se. We have had a couple other ones like Vermont, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and then some different counties in Florida that's it's dumb. So we're not doing that anymore. Let's hope it becomes a law, because once it's a law in one place.
Yeah, it usually sets precedent and everybody could fall in line, but it has been passed in a few other places and it should be passed everywhere, honestly, because it just doesn't make sense. It's kind of like a data thing. You could smoke a joint in your car parked in your driveway, and 3 days later, depending on how loud the weed is, you might be able to still smell it 3 days later.
Yeah, which is hopefully getting, L rides a little bit safer for the rest of us. They made a point to mention that this is to prevent wrongful stops and negative interactions between people of color and black people in particular and cops. So good on them for knowing what's happening to their citizens, because Virginia, that's all I gotta say about it.
I mean, it's good that some like a state like Virginia would pass that.
Yeah,
because it seems like, all right, well, maybe they're starting to wake up a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah, right.
Because like that, for it to be probable cause and actually be a thing that has a name, to me, it's crazy to me, because it's always been like, well, pretty much the same thing like where I'm from. They just dress it up differently and call it something different. I mean, Virginia was like, no, we're gonna call it what it is. It's a smell test. Did he pass the smell test? He failed the smell test? Yeah, he's going to jail. Bring him in.
Cannabis odor test.
Cavity search.
Oh, at the same time that's happening, AAA is like, you know what? Like, hold my purse. I got this. I'm going to do the most outlandish thing I can do, which is like, they opened a grant program to award $100,000 to 30 different police departments and sheriff offices in Illinois to prevent under cannabis influence accidents. And I'm just like, what? What's the percentage of cannabis related car accidents out there enough for you to like shell out hundreds of dollars?
This is one thing that I have encountered in looking this up, because I got into a heated argument with my step uncle, who is a Providence police cop, and it was a heated debate in which like I was basically arguing like cannabis should be legalized in some way or fashion so people can enjoy it the same way people enjoy alcohol. And he was very impassioned and upset about this. And he told me the next time he has to go to a parent's house to tell them that their child passed away because it was smoking, he's gonna come pick me up so I could go with him and realize, like, and witness this. To which my response was, I'll be waiting for your phone call, because I feel like that's not like. And then I started to look, and so there are accidents that they label cannabis, related accidents. But something that is also not recorded is the alcohol use, and that has to do with that accident also, because they were drinking. Yeah. I mean, they just so happen to also smoke, and now it's because they smoke, it's labeled a cannabis related accident.
Damn. So they scamming on that end, but on top of the police departments that they gave money to, they also gave money to the Illinois Liquor Control Commission. What the fuck? Like, why? If it's about cannabis, explain that one. Then the Northwestern Memorial Hospital and the Think First Southern Illinois University School of Medicine to basically have public education programs and the law enforcement to buy equipment. So the equipment that they're buying are these like pens to help identify drug residue. So like, not only are you giving them money, but they're giving them like equipment, but to
pens.
Will the war on drugs, on cannabis, on us fucking end? Like, when will it, bro?
To know that AAA has this much skin in the game is pretty.
It's crazy, but
pretty interesting.
I'm pretty sure they're anti-cannabis reform. Like that.
Yeah, we've discussed something about them before. They've also put some money up not too long ago. I think in one of our last episodes we talked about it. But to see that they have this much skin in the game at this point, because it's now like their second donation of a decent, like a sizable amount of money. But that's and another thing. So is the Illinois Liquor Control Board, is that the commission, Liquor Control Commission, is that also the Cannabis Control Commission?
You know, I don't
something
know.
like that to be here.
I didn't research that, but that's a good question. If it was, why wouldn't it say liquor and cannabis? You know what I mean?
Yeah. AAA. AAA's in cahoots. UV light pens.
Yeah.
Fatal vision marijuana goggles.
Yeah.
Yo, you know what that is, right? I don't know if you ever had DARE at you. You probably had DARE at your school. Everybody had DARE at the school.
Yeah.
once a year they would have an event in the gym, and it would be like by grade, and they would bring you in, and they'd be like, "This is what it would be like to drunk drive," and they would put these big ass goggles on you. They just repurposed them and said they're weed goggles. Like, that's wild. Like, fatal vision marijuana goggles.
But do they think people don't read this shit? Like, we're not paying attention to the fuckery that you guys are out there doing?
I wonder how much money, like how much money are you put, like, instead of the equity of like communities, you're putting into like the equity of
punishing them.
Been set in place to oppress communities, and how much money are you putting into this rather than putting it into schools, into a program that's actually usable, instead of spending who God knows how much on fucking marijuana fatal fucking goggles. Like, what the fuck, bro? That's wild.
In a state that is like making money off of cannabis, bro. They are banking and doing the right thing with it. This is what y'all do. Like, of course you would attack the users there. Wow. Well, at the same time this stuff was going on, the MORE Act has gotten a little bit of a push via email that the, I can't remember his name again. He basically let them know that in September we'll be discussing it as a Senate, or there's a possibility. The House, not the Senate. I'm so sorry. Confusing it with the Safe Banking Act, which passed the House, but is kind of dead in the water in the Senate. We haven't heard anything about it.
For a while now, yeah.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that this could go that way also, because they've already said, hey, y'all should look at it, and it would be beneficial to us if they did look at it. I just don't know if they will.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like no one's really motivated to push this because for two reasons. Because they really don't give a fuck about us. One. Two being we're in the middle of an election, so this can be something that's done and then repealed as soon as somebody gets elected. So no one's really pushing for things that would benefit the people in turn, like, because that's not their main focus is the bottom line. I mean, if everyone had a company or invested in the cannabis company, or all these Republicans had money in it already, best believe everything would be legal. Everything would be legal. I mean, if the politicians, period, had like the skin in the game, everything would be legal.
Yep. Well, what you've been reading, what caught your eye?
So, this is probably one of the best things to happen in Cali right now.
Okay.
We know that, a lot of farms were lost. I believe they're still tallying, but I think it's 6 so far. 6 cannabis farms were lost to the Cali fires, Northern Cali fires. It's heating up again, so there's a chance that they might flare up again. One good thing out of all this that has come about is Assembly Bill 1525, which basically states that there will be no more excess tax on cannabis.
Okay.
So at where it stands is 40% just for the state, and then everybody else can tack on. So the city can tack on, the county can tack on. Their taxes. What they're trying to do is basically push it through and freeze it and help companies kind of rebound, get back on their feet. So everybody doesn't have to pay this, because it's not just a tax paid by consumers, it's also a tax paid by processors and retail. That's one good thing out of Cali that's happening right now. So that's hopefully nothing fails with that. It'd be really dope if it didn't. And I know everybody could use a break right now, especially a lot of people that have lost probably millions of dollars. And the crazy shit is, your farm burns down, they still want the taxes, bro. That don't matter.
No, pay your bills.
That shit doesn't matter. They still want their taxes.
You're not making no money? Oh well, that's the risk.
They still want that money for your reinstatement, for your license. They still you have to pay. They want that.
It's hilarious, bro. I keep seeing that meme that's like how their study finds that they need to bring back burning, which they ban the Native Americans from doing there. They called it good burning. And so the meme's like, well, the people who've lived here for thousands of generations, they don't know. They know what they're talking about, You guys kind of figured it out. I keep saying it over and over and over again. And I'm like, Callie, like, bro, you just find ways to fuck yourself.
Yeah. Hopefully this bill passes, gives these guys some relief. Next thing though, crazy shit. Tel Aviv just legalized not too long ago. Shout out Tel Aviv. Randomly, hundreds of bots descend on the sky.
Oh.
Drones descend on the sky. And they start dropping things. What are they dropping? They're dropping fucking weed, bro. An unknown weed company who called themselves Green Drone loaded up a bunch of 2-gram bags on a bunch of drones, sent them out over the skies of Tel Aviv and dropped weed at random. And basically is a call to the countrymen, in celebration that weed is finally legal. Something big is coming, which was promised on the bag of weed, printed on the back. And free weed is free weed, but when the shit is dropping from the sky, that must have imagine you're just walking down the street and weed starts falling from the sky.
I'm doing the happiest of dances, bro. Breaking it down.
Imagine if you're high walking down the street and weed falls off the sky. How long have you blown before you finally turn the bag around and realize, like, oh shit, it's a company. That's planning on dropping over a kilo. In 2-gram bags, throughout the next week. So
wow.
Not only have you gotten free weed, there's a promise of more free weed.
I would feel affirmed that I'm living in the right place. Y'all really do care about me out here.
I know, right? That's the shit that's done right. That's how you fucking do it.
We doing weed, and because we're doing weed, here's the Oprah effect. You get some weed. You get some weed.
Exactly. Or I'm gonna let you know how gas this shit is before you buy any. Perfect.
Come find us, man.
Last but not least,
2020.
Gammon in Washington.
Oh.
So when I came across this shit and I read it, for little context for our listeners and viewers, I'm part Nigerian, and Nigerians are known, infamous for being scammers. It's so. When I read this shit, I'm like, who's falling for this? But because we live in the age of technology, and people are finding ways to be more and more cunning every day and basically take an old con, brush it off, sprinkle a little bit of technology on top, and now you have a whole new, something new that you can use to probably make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a state this big. So this is a story for everybody that works I-502, especially my people that work in retail. Watch out. People that are calling or texting, mainly texting, from numbers that appear to be the number of the owner or appear to be a city official. And what they're telling people when they call or text is that they are doing a fire extinguisher inspection.
Oh,
and
that's a good one.
Because they're doing this fire extinguisher inspection, they need to collect some type of fee for it, or the people need to drop something off, or the owner has a son who's sick and they have to drop money off here for their medical bills. These are the things that are coming through, and people not knowing, because I can tell you this much: you get your fire extinguisher check at least once a year. Some places twice, every 6 months they come in, and I believe it's 2 separate entities that come in to look at it. It's the people that you actually get your fire extinguisher from, and then the city. So to have somebody call you and tell you it's about fire extinguishers, that would seem very compelling. This guy.
I said it was a good one.
But when it comes to taking money out of a register, out of a safe, out of I feel like that's something that should always be double checked. So definitely keep your eye out. They've already gotten a few locations already, and people are still getting calls and texts to date. So definitely keep your eyes out, people in Washington.
Wow, that's a good one.
Right? I was like, what in the Nigerian?
Yo, they played y'all. It's like solidified. Wow.
Oh, yo, that's exact. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, that's, yo, I don't know, man.
Listen, 2020 has brought out like the hustlers, the scammers, for sure, on all levels. Billionaires, all
Everybody
of
getting
them.
it.
Yeah, you either grind or you getting ground up, man. So, Terp Talk?
Terp talk. All right. So my terp for today. Terp for today is pinene. So pinene, as far as smell and taste goes, well, as far as what it can be found in outside of cannabis, pine needles. It is the most common terpene in the natural world, like point blank period. Pine needles, rosemary, basil, 3 things outside of cannabis it can be found in. Most abundantly found in very few plants. It's not a terpene that's really at the forefront. I mean, in the spotlight a lot of times. Few things that it can be found in. One of my favorites, Evergreen OG. Fat Panda has a really good one. Big Smooth. Seattle Private Reserve has one of the dopest Big Smooths. Snoop's Dream. Critical Mass. Potential effects, alertness, memory retention, which is really funny because they say weed basically hinders short-term memory, but pinene is linked to short-term memory retention, and it also counteracts some THC. Not all THC, but some types of THC it counteracts. So if you're ever feeling too high, I mean, if you don't have any piney weed around, you could always, maybe go in the cabinet, sniff a little bit of rosemary. I don't know, maybe help out, maybe it won't.
Is it?
Terps talk though.
Okay, that's solid. I was just trying to think of like when you're walking through a forest, that feeling that you get.
Instant anti-anxiety.
Yeah. So I was like,
pinene.
Look at us giving you some information.
Get that pinene in your life. Go for a hike. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. Anywhere you are, please try it. Take water. People never bring enough supplies. They just like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. At least the first time.
Oh, shout out. I just want to shout out real quick a couple things. Fire-ass munchy alert. I had some Pop-Tarts. And Pop-Tarts just teamed up with Kellogg's. And they made Fruit Loop Pop-Tarts. Yo. Fucking gas. Okay. Them shits is fine.
Where'd you get it?
Oh, we got it off of Amazon Fresh.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, we was talking about hiking. I just found a page, and I would appreciate if any of our listeners, specifically our Black listeners, like hiking, go and follow these guys. Black People Hike. Yeah. Black_people_hike. New page that just went from like 500 followers to like 1,600 in a matter of like fucking 10 days. You know what I mean? But we're out here. Just know. I mean, it's a thing. Yeah? Like, I know like some people feel out of place when they go and they're like, I don't know, but like we're out here. We hike.
So come hike with us. Well, let's take a quick break.
The Baker's Man Collective presents.
And now we're back with our Light Up and Listen segment. So currently, I've been jamming to Burna Boy's new album, Twice as Tall. Have you heard it?
Twice as Tall? No. Did you tell me that one last time?
I don't know. I feel like I always talk about Burna Boy. I like him a lot. If I'm honest, I listen to his music a lot. African Giant was the one that like hooked me, but even his features, he murders those, dude. It's so good. It's an Afrobeats album. I think you would like it, so tune in. The other album I've been listening to, and it's very much like me because I love me some Bennett Brothers, which is Chance the Rapper and Taylor Bennett. I love all their albums, but Taylor Bennett dropped a new one called Broad Shoulders, and I've been waiting. I've been waiting for it. So have you heard of his music at all?
Yeah, I've heard a couple things from him. I haven't heard his new joint yet.
Mm.
It trips me out, like when I see that, like I'm like, how are you like just like a bigger chance, like
right?
You just look like somebody took a chance and just like pulled him out, like I mean, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Strong genes in that family, B.
For sure, even their children, like
strong genes.
If you guys don't know who we're talking about, I would totally recommend. There's a freestyle at a radio station, and it was like Chance, Taylor, and one other person, ASAP Ferg, I think, maybe. I don't know. They were going bar for, like, you know what I mean? Like rapping. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Went in, dude. So I would just watch that. It's on YouTube. Great entertainment. And then go listen to their music, because they're all good artists. Finally, Tarrus Riley, which is sort of like lovers rock reggae, I would say. Very emotional, very wise. And he dropped an album called Healing, and I think it's appropriate. It's what I would expect out of reggae right now with what's going on in the world. So between him and Buju Banton, I feel like held a little bit by my peoples.
It's funny that you say that, because both of my Light Up and Listens this go around are both reggae.
Okay.
My boy Protege dropped In Search of Lost Time. Yeah, I mean, like old school vibes, like reggae. You know what I mean, not dancehall, but like I mean,
yes,
old shit, but gas vibe.
Okay.
And then you would expect nothing less from a Marley. Skip Marley just dropped his Higher Place.
Ooh.
And if you haven't listened to any Skip, well, you probably, not knowing it was Skip Marley, you probably heard Skip Marley on the radio.
Yeah.
But Higher Place, another Marley album, I mean, classic. I honestly just found out about him not too long ago, I mean, which blew me out. But he's got fucking talent.
All the Marleys, man.
Yeah. And you born into that bloodline, is just like, that's strong genetics.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And like when you could carry out when you could carry a look, not only a look, but like a sound and like musical genius across generations, like that's strong.
Touching the world, like the entire world. Yeah. They brought reggae music to Africa, I would say, maybe. I don't know. That's a little bit reaching, because
they've taken things from, like, reggae was like things from other places.
Yeah.
I mean, and made into reggae to make reggae, and like that sound kind of spread, but it's just like the same thing as hip hop. Like, I mean, as much as like I would love to say like, yo, we gave hip hop to the world, like, I mean, and as much as I'd like to be like, yo, what they do in the UK, that shit's hip hop, but like people have taken the shit and like stretched it and
wonders.
Like, I mean, like rerouted and like rewired and like, I mean, reconstructed. Like, you can't even call it hip hop no more. They've made it their own. I mean, just like same shit's done with reggae. Like, they gave that sound to the world, and the world basically took that sound and emulated that sound and changed that sound and made different things. You know what I mean? Exactly.
But isn't that something, when you're taking it and reworking it and making it a thing, isn't that in its essence hip hop? Like, that's what hip hop is.
Hip hop is, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you took one record, you took a beat, and then grew, and then you added words, and then all of a sudden it's this whole genre. Like,
so what you could say is that hip hop itself has given the drive force, or reggae itself has been like, I mean, that driving force behind something. Yeah. I mean, at the heart of it.
Yeah.
But like the exterior and like, I mean, the mental and like pretty much everything else has changed completely and like become like something completely different. But yeah, I mean, at the core, everybody has to pay homage, and pretty much, hopefully, and definitely, as far as I know, people do.
Yeah.
Some people don't, but most people do.
Yeah.
I digress. I don't know, man. I'm fucking high. We just
just high thoughts. Just some high thoughts. Well, I had a couple honorable mentions. Jaden Smith, of course, dropped another little album called The Cool Tape Volume 3. I do enjoy Jaden Smith's music. How do you feel about him, brother? How do you feel about him?
He has some fucking bangers, yo. As much as I want to be like, fuck out of here. what life experiences are you telling me about Jaden? You know what I mean?
Right.
But like as much as I wanted to, like he has a couple tracks that like I've definitely banged. Like
Talented children.
Yo, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
He's fucking good. I will say this, like I feel like his music isn't for everybody, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like, cause I played this shit like
not what you meant. Not what you meant.
Yeah, and people like
what the fuck is this? What sad boy music?
But I feel like I'm like, yo, the nigga he's doing he's making his own lane. Everybody in his family acts. I mean, he wants to do the music shit. Like I fuck with it, man.
Yeah, he's doing a lot. The music, the water, the philanthropy. I can't hate on Jaden. He's weird, but he's
definitely a space case. You know what I mean? But like, who's not?
Live your life. Finally, there's a Tampa artist by the name of Late Bloomer, and a dope spelling of his name. I just kind of got put on to him. Thank you, Instagram. And I love 2020 for all the music that's coming out, but people are sharing what they're listening to. Mm-hmm. They're promoting their friends more on Instagram. So it's like, I found it and then just dove in. He has a great first album. He just dropped a single called Gemini. Please check it out. He's very artsy for me. Like when I played him on YouTube, it went from his music to Shmino. So sort of that kind of vibe, very artsy, but again, in his own lane. I don't want to compare anybody, but that's what the algorithm brought up. So if you like that vibe of music, you will like it.
My one and only honorable mention, I mean, because it's so fucking heavy. The Lox dropped a project, Living Off Experience. I mean, so I have to have a little bit of East Coast at that time. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you need some shit to ride to, you know what I mean?
So you can pull out some boots and like a leather coat.
The Pele 40-pound Pele coat. When you take it off, you feel like you're about to go Super Saiyan and shit. Like, homeboy, what anime was it when homie drops the weights off of him and they're like,
not Neji, fucking Rock Lee, Naruto.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, drops all the weights off of him. Yeah.
Gangster.
After you take the Pele off, you Rock Lee.
Don't let you actually
Pele and the Timbs. That's like 80 pounds right there. That's like 80 pounds of clothing.
Wait, but like, don't let actually Rock Lee get the Hennessy in the system because he's fucking everything up. But as soon as he gets drunk, everyone gets demolished, and I do think that's a great analogy between. Good job. Well, you want to get out of here, man? I think we talked to them enough. I don't know.
It was cool. I like this episode.
Me too. It's a good vibe. Well, it's dope you took the time to have a J with us. Until the next session.
Remember, just two functional potheads out here trying to bring light and truth through cannabis.